one afternoon I got a message from police control that there was a man in the water next to the Victoria Bridge, North Bank, and the word was it was close in, almost against the quay wall. So there was a towing vehicle en route for me. I rushed the boat and the trailer out. Mark Gass, the assistant, and Stephanie, my wife, we get the boat out, and a police car was passing at the time, but this police car did not have a tow bar. So we quickly made the decision to go down in this police car with throw ropes and that, since the man was supposed to be next to the quay wall, and Mark would follow on with the boat when the towing vehicle arrived. When I arrived at the locus, I found that the man was out in the middle of the river, and unfortunately there appeared to be members of the public wanting to go in and get him, so, well, I couldn't allow that, so in I went. And as a result, you see me swimming out here towards the man who is hanging onto a lifebelt.
George, can I ask, is that your preferred stroke, breaststroke, or is that a reason why?
I always try to use the breaststroke when I'm swimming towards somebody, because it means you can keep your eye on the person in the water. Also, I had borrowed a life jacket from a police car. You can't really swim with a life jacket on, but if you do swim, you swim breaststroke, and you don't inflate the life jacket unless you need help. If I'd seen the boat arriving at that point, or if I was completely and utterly exhausted, I'd have inflated the life belt. That little bit of commotion you see there was, when I got to the man, I discovered that when he put his head inside the life belt, he managed to get the wee orange rope that's round the life belt. He managed to get his head through that. So in actual fact, he was choking himself while he was in the water. So I had to take that off, then put the life belt on properly, and then start swimming.
Have you grabbed hold of the guy there, or are you just holding the lifebelt?
I'm only holding a life belt. You always work with what's called a rigid or non-rigid towing aid. You always take something with you. Good RLSS practice. You never let the person in the water get hold of you.
Yeah. Did you have time to like remove any boots or any clothing or anything? Or
you don't have time to remove any clothing, but what I do is I keep my boots on until I'm actually in the water, because you never know what you're going to hit, an old supermarket trolley or something with your feet. And then once you're in the water and you're swimming, you can kick the boots off, which is why
you were a size bigger?
A size bigger.
Is that the thermal imaging?
That's the thermal imaging. The helicopter was up above us, and they were trying the different different types of cameras they had.
Well, you can see the amount of heat coming off you.
Yeah.
Just when you're swimming. That's cold.
That's good.
Didn't notice. Now you've just got to take your time getting the man back to the side. You're swimming quite fast, but at the same time you're taking your time, because the last thing you want to do is to be too exhausted to reach the side. Now here we see the police getting ready. This is where the old carrack used to sit, and the police are getting ready. They've got a throw rope there. It's actually my throw rope. The special throw rope that I use, it just has a wee doggy ring on the end of it. I tied it to the end of a rope, and I find that the best throw rope. And look at that. What an inch perfect throw. That policeman deserves a medal for that throw. Wonderful. Then when I catch hold of the rope, I spread my arms out as far as I can to make myself kind of streamlined into another rope, and my feet are swung round pointing towards the man in the life belt, and you're keeping him calm all the time. Now watch the police officers. This is magnificent. Not only has he got me on the rope, but because he's on the river side of the fence, the rope goes back to police officers who are on the other side of the railing. So they're actually protecting each other as they go. This is just an excellent piece of work. Perfect throw. Having to pass it under the girders to get me along to the ladder. And it's very interesting to note that the sailing ship, the Carrick, only moved from that locus a few months earlier, and there was no quaywall ladder there. And we went to the council water safety working group, and we got a ladder put in there a matter of weeks before this incident, and that ladder now has been it's been used in a lot of rescues now.
Because you're in trouble if there isn't a ladder near you. I mean, you could see how slowly you had to swim with another guy just hanging on. So.
I don't know how we'd get out if there wasn't. I'd have been relying on a boat, which by this time the boat is actually on its way. But what happened here was Mark Gash, the assistant, Mark phoned when the police car to ask me where he would bring the boat to. And I had left my phone, didn't want to go in the water with my phone on. And I'd left the phone with a member of the public, and the member of the public told Mark that I was swimming about the water. So Mark just jumped on a bicycle and come hammering down the bike. Now watch the policeman. The policeman's down the ladder. He's down up to his waist in the water beside me to help me. The other policemen have gone to their cars and got extra ropes, and they're passing down the extra ropes so we can get this. There's Mark arriving now with the light coloured trousers and the dark jacket. But it's absolutely marvellous. Here we have the heat again.
Are you able to stand there, George? Are you standing on the bottom of the ladder?
No. I'm on the bottom of the ladder, yeah.
Yep.
Now watch as Mark goes down the ladder. He doesn't want to interfere with the policeman. So he swings round behind the ladder onto the ledge on the quay wall, and he comes down the back of the ladder so that he can help, but he's not kicking the policeman's hand or anything, you know. And then we're taking the rope off the life belt and the extra ropes that they passed down to us, and we're putting them under the man's armpits, under his oxters and round his chest to allow us to lift him straight up. Now, as soon as he gets up as far as other policemen have got him, Mark swings right back down the ladder to come and get me. It really is. This is a textbook rescue. It's marvellous. I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. I'm a lifeboat man. You should never, ever go in the water. But at the same time, you can't stand by and watch members of the public go in who aren't trained the way I suppose that I am. You know? So there's Mark helping me up the ladder because my feet are a wee bit cold now. And in perfect time, here we have the ambulance just drawing straight in. Perfect as we get the man up and the ambulance men rush out to help him. Excellent. I remember my feet were so cold at that point that coming up the ladder, every step was like someone sticking a knife into my feet. But there we are. Mark's shoving me up anyway. Good lad.
Why did he jump in? Was he drunk or suicidal? Do you know?
There is a rumour only, that there was an old firm match on that day, and one or the other had just scored, and he was a supporter of the losing team, so he ran out the pub and threw himself in the river. Whether that's true or not, I don't know, but that's what I would call a real fan. The word being fanatic, you know. I don't know if that's true or not. That's the rumour. Poor man. At least he's out. He was out and he's getting well looked after now. There's somebody putting a space blanket around me.
So what would you have done differently if you had got the boat there in time?
I just rode out and got him. And then I wouldn't have...
Just taken him to the side, put him up the ladder, or would you have taken him to a jetty or something?
I'd need to have assessed his condition as we lifted him into the boat. If he was perfectly okay, which it seems he is because he's standing and everything now, I'd have taken him down to the pontoon at the Glasgow bridge. But if he appeared to be losing consciousness or anything, I'd have brought him straight up the ladder. As Mark's bike lying in the ground.
How long do they have in the water generally? I guess it depends on but
it varies on time of how much clothing they've got on, whether they're struggling or not. He wasn't struggling, so He'd have had 4 or 5 minutes probably, maybe a bit long. I don't know.
Was this month, this June, July, the weather there?